You want to play rough? Okay, say hello to my little 4K review. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel for my review of Scarface on 4K, my long-awaited review of Scarface. So I put out a poll a couple of weeks ago asking you guys to pick my next 4K review, and it was a pretty close race between Godzilla on 4K, Scarface, and a couple of others, but Scarface ended up coming out on top and taking that lead, and a lot of people voted in that poll. I think over 200 people, so definitely appreciate you guys doing that, and that's something I really want to continue on this channel, is just letting you guys, of course I'm going to do like the new releases and stuff like that, the no-brainers that come out. But if I'm going back and I'm wanting to review something that's a little bit older, I would like your all's input on that. This is every bit as much your channel as it is mine, so I want to make sure that I'm reviewing stuff that you guys are interested in and that you guys really want to see my opinion on. So with this review today, guys, I just want to let everybody know that I am going to be trying something different. I really want to start streamlining these reviews. They're kind of getting out of hand as far as like lengthwise, because I am going into all of these different details in depth. I'm cutting to unboxings. It's too much, and I don't want to make you guys have to sit here for 20 minutes and watch a review of a disc. So I'm really going to try to cut back. I'm going to try to streamline things. I'm going to try to do things just a little bit different today. And I also have a new scoring criteria that I'm going to be using on this channel today as well. So definitely would appreciate your feedback for that. And the scoring criteria that I'm going to use, you can see down below in the description. I'm going to start putting that in the description for my reviews, and I will reveal that when we get to the end of this review. So yeah, let's talk about Scarface from 1983, directed by Brian De Palma. The story of Cuban immigrant Tony Montana, played by Al Pacino, who comes in to America and his rise to power and wealth within this kind of drug organization in Miami. So yeah, guys, I got to get into this just right off the bat. Just my first impressions. Of course, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie, so this isn't the first time I've seen it in 4K or Blu-ray or HD. This is the first time ever that I have seen Scarface. Of course, this movie is infamous. It's been played in every single rapper's house on MTV Cribs from back in the day. I've always known of this movie. I mean, its popularity just is just beyond any other gangster movie of this type. Everybody talks about Scarface as just being one of the definitive movies of that drug gangster genre. And I gotta say, going into this movie, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, is it really gonna be that good? Because it's hyped to the moon, this movie. And I gotta say, with all the hype, I was blown away by this film. This is maybe one of my favorite movies of all time now, and I'm not even kidding. I absolutely loved this movie. Directed by Brian De Palma, who I haven't seen too much of his filmography. I've seen Carrie, and I've seen the first Mission Impossible, which I love both of those films. He also did Mission to Mars, which I've seen as well, but I haven't dove in too deep into his filmography. I'd definitely like to more after this, because this is just a stunning film and that is worthy of all the hype and praise that this movie gets. It's almost 3 hours long, and it doesn't feel that way. This movie just moved. I was completely engrossed and engaged in this character and this story just the entire way through. Al Pacino, Jesus, Al Pacino. He is becoming one of my, if not my favorite actor of all time, just between the roles that I've seen him in. I've been doing a lot of first-time watches, and now I get why people revere this guy so much, why he is one of the most legendary actors of all time. And you guys are going to think that I'm crazy or that I don't know movies or film, because some of these movies that I'm going to bring up that I've watched for the first time within the last couple of years, but, you know, The Godfather, Heat, Dog Day Afternoon, I just watched a month ago, and he was absolutely phenomenal in this movie. This guy is just, he is such a great performer, and he plays this character like, honestly, I don't think anybody else could. And this movie would most certainly not be as good without him in this role, in this performance. I don't think anybody else could have played the character of Tony Montana like he does in this movie. Such a raw grittiness to it, contrast with like the nightlife and the extravagant lifestyles of like the, you know, the big mansions and where he's working, and it's just all of that just works together so perfectly and just provides a really unique aesthetic to this film. And just the way Brian De Palma shoots this film and directs it just puts you right into every moment in this film. And there's a scene in the beginning where it involves a chainsaw. It's a horrific scene, extremely gory, and it's the only scene like it in the entire film, and it just works and it doesn't feel out of place. It feels like that start that he needed to become, that Tony Montana needed to become the character that he would later on in the movie. And this is very much the story of a common man, a not so wealthy man, a man that rose from the slums to power and wealth, and just how a guy that wanted it all and he was going to stop at nothing until he got it. Perfectly portrayed by Al Pacino in this role, but do not undersell the supporting cast of this film, because everybody else in this movie is freaking phenomenal as well. Michelle Pfeiffer, and maybe one of her first roles in a movie. I don't know if she did this movie first or Grease 2. I don't know. I'll have to check on that, but she's absolutely stunning in this movie. She plays such a confident kind of not taking anybody's shit kind of role. Like, she gives back every ounce of grief that Tony Montana gives to her. She gives back to him. She's not afraid of him. She's not afraid to stand up to people that put her down. And I really enjoyed her character in this movie. Just a strong, confident female role that's obviously very flawed herself. You know, she has problems with addiction, depression and stuff like that. And that's portrayed through her performance as well. I just think she does a phenomenal job in this movie. You also have Stephen Bauer, who kind of plays Tony Montana's right-hand man as the character of Manny. He is really good in this movie as well. Great chemistry with Pacino throughout. I really loved their dynamic together and how they played off each other, in particular the first 45 minutes, because that's a little bit more, nothing about this movie is very lighthearted, but I feel like the first 45 minutes is kind of the more lighthearted moments in the film between those two. The young lady that plays his sister is freaking great in this movie. Mary Elizabeth, not Winstead, but Mastrantonio, I think I'm saying her name right. You have Robert Loggia in this movie, who's just a great character actor for decades, and he's freaking awesome in this movie. Just tons of people in this film that I recognize, but I don't really like know them for anything. I just know that I've seen them before. And yeah, being a huge Breaking Bad fan, like, you definitely know, and I've heard before, Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, said that his story of Walter White was very much the story of a man who went from Mr. Chips to Scarface. And that is the classic story of a man that kind of starts at nothing and then he pulls himself up to wealth and power through nefarious means. And that is, you can definitely see where Breaking Bad drew a lot of its inspiration in Scarface. So yeah, being a big Breaking Bad fan and then seeing how Tony Montana's progression and just kind of the comparisons that you can draw between those two characters just made this movie that much better for me when I was watching it. This movie is almost 3 hours long. Like I said, you never feel the length of this film. Every single scene and part of this movie feels like it needs to be there. It's just the story is told in a very concise way and it just flows. And I just really appreciate that about that. Nothing in this movie feels like it drags. It just moves and it's constantly and consistently engaging. The one negative I would maybe point out, and it's just something that it's not even truly a negative because I think that you get enough to really understand who Tony Montana is. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more of his origin story and just where he came from, a little bit more of him with his mom and his sister and his family. You know, where did his dad go and all that stuff? Why is he so driven? Why is he so drawn to wealth and power and all of that stuff? Like, I don't really feel like it's necessary, but I feel like I needed it with this particular character and role. So that is the only thing I can really point at is even close to being a negative. But besides that, guys, if I was to rate this movie, and I probably will rate it on Letterboxd, I'll probably leave that link down below, just a short written review. So if you guys aren't following me on Letterboxd, definitely do that. I'd probably give this movie a 5 5 out of a 5, to be honest. It's not perfect, but to me, like, it's a 5 out of 5 movie. Like, it's a classic. It deserves that status, and I loved it, to be honest with you. As for the visuals, you know, on 4K, I watched it, so that I watched this in the best possible way the first time. This movie was shot on film. There is a little bit of grain in this, so if you're not a big fan of the film grain stuff, which I don't really care, I think that adds character to the movie. Just looks fantastic. One of the best HDR transfers I've seen. And as for the audio, guys, it's fantastic as well. It doesn't have Dolby Atmos, but it does have DTS:X immersive audio, which is pretty comparable to Dolby Atmos. So it has the 7.1 surround sound. And everything sounded great to me. To be honest with you, I don't have the Dolby Atmos system, the 7.1 surround sound speaker system anyway. I'm just using a soundbar, so everything sounded crystal clear to me. All of the dialogue mixed with the score and just everything else going on in the film, it all sounded great, and I had no issues with the audio. So as for the packaging itself, yes, the packaging. As for the packaging, this is just freaking great packaging right here. It's embossed right here in gold, Scarface. I absolutely love it. It's one of the best 4K covers, I think, and it is a universal cover, or a universal, and I usually don't like this at the top, but I actually think this bigger banner right here actually works for this cover. So I think it all looks really great. Definitely one of the best packaged releases from Universal, in my opinion. So as far as special features, guys, tons of great special features on this. A lot of them are with the Blu-ray already, so you can get the Blu-ray. You don't have to get this one. And they'll already be included, or they were already included at some point in this film's run. But one thing that is new and exclusive to this 4K is this new conversation with director Brian De Palma and actors Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Stephen Bauer, all giving like a 30-minute kind of Q&A session with a moderator. And it's a really, really awesome conversation between all of those, just on the history and the legacy of Scarface as a movie. And I really enjoyed that quite a bit. That's the one that I watched all the way through. I also watched the Scarface Phenomenon, which is a really cool kind of documentary type thing. It's about 45 minutes long, but it has a lot of directors and actors just commenting on Scarface and what it means to them as film fans. So I really enjoyed that one as well. You also get the TV version of this, which I don't know if that's anything that anybody would be interested in. But if you want to watch the TV version of Scarface with everything cut out in the movie, neutered all to hell, I guess you could watch that as well. But there's deleted scenes, and yeah, just a lot of cool features with this one that definitely make this a more worth it release. So as far as my score for this movie, you know, I'm going to have 4 scoring criterias. At the top is buy it now. So that means buy it right now. Don't wait. I'll have the link down below. Click that link and purchase it right away. You have to have this in your collection. After that would be wait for the sale. So a movie that I think is good. It's a good release, but maybe not worth the price point that it is. And then there's a Walmart bargain bin. So wait till it's about $5 to $6 in the bargain bin, because that's all it's worth. And then the last one, guys, the worst score. This means that it's probably not a movie that's ever worth picking up on Blu-ray or 4K or DVD, if I ever review DVDs. And that's the Dollar Tree pickup. So that is the worst of the worst right there. That would be the 1 out of a 5 or 1 out of a 4, however way you want to look at it. So that is my new scoring criteria, guys. And as for this release, I'm giving this a buy it right now. Absolutely purchase this. But the bad thing is that I looked on Amazon. It is sold out temporarily right now. I'll put that link down below in case you watch this a couple weeks later and it's not sold out anymore. But right now I was looking. The only place you can actually buy it that has it available is Walmart, and then it's for $13.29. So still a good price for this release, but you can only get it on the Walmart website as of right now. So absolutely worth a pickup, guys. This is just one of the best 4K transfers I've ever seen for one of the best movies I've ever seen. I absolutely love this movie. Definitely appreciate you guys picking this one for me to review. So with that, guys, I appreciate you watching. Please like, comment down below your thoughts on this movie, as well as the 4K version of it, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.